Joining me right now to talk more about that and other things is House Intelligence Committee ranking member, California Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, it's great to be with you. It's early out here. I'm just watching the sun come up over the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountain range, so it's great to be here.
Well, you are great to get up early for us, and thank you so much for that. Let me ask you, Congressman, it was really your work that led me to start zeroing in and probing China 4 years ago, because you and I started talking, and you were telling me that you were investigating certain moves that the Chinese Communist Party had made. Give us your assessment of the national security risks of China, given your extensive probing and investigating of what the CCP has been doing over the years.
Well, as I recall, Maria, when we were first talking about what is now known as the Russia hoax, as the Democrats were continuing to push the Russia hoax on the American people, that somehow the Republican Party and Trump were doing something bad with Moscow or Putin, the reality of it was that we've proven now it was them. They were doing it. But during that time period, I think what I was saying to you and on your show several times, I would say that, look, China is the real problem here. Yes, Russia has a great intelligence service. They have a powerful military. They're a nuclear power. They have a great history, and they are a traditional adversary. And Putin's doing bad things around the globe. But the Chinese, while we're sleeping here, continue to undermine every asset and every facet of the global economy and even the U.S. economy. And now, at first, when we first started researching this, we were looking into Huawei and ZTE because it appeared to us like they were putting in connections throughout the communications infrastructure globally so that they could control and listen in and spy and steal secrets electronically. Now what you've seen is it appears like they've had a systematic plan in place to bring people in, to recruit Americans, to bring Chinese students over to the United States. And look, and what it's culminated, it hasn't gotten a lot of fanfare, but the House Republicans on the Intelligence Committee have introduced legislation to stop these visas from being given to members of the Chinese Communist Party or students that are their parents are members of the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, why would we let the fox in the hen house? That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, but how do you differentiate who's working for the CCP and who isn't? I mean, isn't that the issue? Or are there students that really just want to come here and study quantum computing? They want to study AI. They just want to be in America? Or I mean, is there no way to differentiate who's actually taking data back to the CCP?
Well, that's the real challenge. If you're not part of the party, you're nothing in China. It's very hard to get ahead or to become anything if you're just a peasant that's out in the field. So you can't. They're trying to steal and rob us blind. So look, if your parents are part of the Chinese Communist Party, look, hey, I'm sorry, but we have a lot of other students around the globe that are just as smart, including students here in the United States, that need to take those positions, need to take those spots where they're being educated in some of the best universities around the globe. And we need to make sure that they're not being taken by somebody who ultimately is going to go back and work for the Chinese Communist Party. Because if you're part of the party, if you have a business, you work for the Chinese Communist Party. It's very, very simple. Yeah. It's a top-down run system.
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing. Exactly. And we're hearing increasingly from everybody from yourself, who've been studying it for so many years, to A.G. Barr, now Christopher Wray at the FBI, saying that China is the major threat. But let's get back to the Russia hoax. But Senator Grassley is expressing concerns that the John Durham probe is not ready yet. He tweeted this on Monday. If no prosecutions until after the election, sad. Just think Flynn, Mueller, impeachment. The deep state is so deep that people get away with political crime. Durham should be producing some fruit of his labor. Congressman, what are your thoughts on this? We know what took place. We already have seen criminality. You had an FBI agent doctoring evidence, right? The one who said Carter Page was not working with the CIA when, in fact, he was. He actually doctored evidence. We have abuses at the FISA court. We have leaking. We have lying to Congress. All of these things are already criminal. How come we haven't heard from John Durham, and when are you expecting it? You know, if we don't hear this until after the election and Trump doesn't win, we won't hear another word about this, and they will have gotten away with it.
Well, first I have to say that not having leaks from an investigation is something we haven't had in a while because, of course, all through the Russia hoax, all we heard from the Mueller team was leak after leak after leak. So House Republicans have made about 15 criminal referrals. I talked about that on your Sunday show a few weeks ago. And this is a very large investigation because, you're talking about a time frame that stretches from late 2015, all the way basically through to the end of the Mueller probe. I mean, that's the size and scope of the conspiracy. So, look, I think it's good that we're not hearing from Durham. And I do want these prosecutions to come, or the indictments at least, to come before the election. I think it's really important for the American people to know, because without indictments, I think you're still going to be left with, if you look at the polling that you see today, you still have over half of Americans that believe somehow the Republican Party and Donald Trump have something to do with Putin. For God's sakes, you had the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, last week essentially assert that Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, had something to do with Russia, when the reality is it was the Democrats and the Clinton campaign who were colluding with Russia. So it will be a shame if this is not out before Election Day, and I think they're scared of it. Even it was either last night, it was yesterday, I believe, that even Biden made a reference about something about Trump carrying Putin's water. These are sick people. They're really sick in the head. They've poisoned millions of Americans. And, but this is what happens when you have, we were talking about China earlier, when you have a propaganda network, when you control 90% of the media and you run it through that funnel of the tech oligarchs, the tech tyrants, it's understandable why over half of Americans still believe that the Republican Party and Republicans have something, if anything, to do with Putin. It's because the propaganda is being funneled intravenously right into the American people, and that's why we need justice served here, so the American people learn the entire truth of this long conspiracy that went on for what, I don't know, 4 years.
You're right. It's absolutely extraordinary that half of America still thinks there could be Russia collusion. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. But it's partly because you have people like yourself who have resumes who went behind closed doors and said, no, there's no collusion, but then went on CNN and said it's in plain sight. Oh, yeah, Donald Trump committed treason. And I'm talking about Adam Schiff and John Brennan, Congressman. Is there going to be any accountability for that? Real quick. We got to jump.
Well, ultimately, as members of Congress, we're held responsible at the voting booth. But, it was the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee that actually tried to get nude pictures of President Trump. Even after the fact that after this, we were conducting an investigation where it was the Democrats and the Clinton campaign who had been colluding with Russians. They then tried to go to Russians to get nude pictures of the president. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Biggest political scandal of our time. Congressman, thank you, sir. We will see you soon.